Hi, thank you again for joining us on the road to recovery. I'm Ronda Jackson, your host, serial entrepreneur, and small business advocate. And today we decided to have a roundtable discussion with fellow business owner Rachel Sanchez and Alan Razzaghi on what's happening right now. How are we dealing and coping with the challenges? How, having the series, we've been applying the knowledge and the resources that have been made available to us. So thank you, Rachel and Alan, for joining us today.
Thanks
for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, Alan, if you'll take a second first, if you don't mind, to Rachel, he's outnumbered. So, if you'll introduce yourself and your company to the group.
Yes, I'm Alan Razzaghi, founder and CEO of Fresh Lunches Inc. Fresh Lunches was founded to provide healthy and delicious meals to schools, and we've been around since 2007.
Thank you, Alan. And then Rachel, you're joining us.
Yes, I'm Rachel Sanchez, CEO of Prestige Maintenance USA. We are a nationwide cleaning and building maintenance company. We've been around since 1976, and we service many different types of verticals, including commercial, distribution, retail, and industrial.
Okay, and just so you guys know as an audience, both of these business owners have participated in some really dynamic leadership programs, the TUC program through WeBank and the 10,000 Small Business program through Goldman Sachs. So they are devoted to their businesses and are constantly growing and strategizing. So that's one of the reasons why you guys were selected to be guests today. So I thank you again for participating. I just wanted to just open up the conversation with, are you guys open or closed? Are you doing business, considered essential? Rachel?
We are open. So fortunately, we are an essential service providing, cleaning and disinfecting. So we have some businesses that are considered essential, and our operations have continued on there as normal. But we have some who have closed their doors. So we've definitely had an impact and a reduction.
I understand. How about you, Alan? Are you guys open or closed?
We are open, even though our clients who are schools are closed. We are nonetheless operating with new business strategies. So yes, we are open and looking for and implementing new strategies for growth.
Oh, very good, very good. So I like that you use that word growth in this conversation, because I think that's really helpful. Can you guys describe individually, and I'll start with you, Alan, your impact on revenue or staffing through these challenging times?
Yes, of course. So our revenue, basically, the impact was 100%. It went to zero. Pretty much, on March 12th, 13th, when schools started shutting down. And being an entrepreneur, I just had to do something, and I had the concept of, two important things. One is, we realized that with this, a lot of people in need are going to need food delivered to them because they can't go out there. So we started reaching out to the Red Cross. We started reaching out to organizations that work with homeless veterans, to become a kind of source for providing food. What that would do is, one, it would bring our employees some to do, so we could keep some of them, and two, really use our skills, our expertise, our vehicles to do good. So that was kind of, reaction one. And then reaction two was the families themselves, because our business is really built around serving families. Now, it happened to be through providing meals at schools. Now, we recognize that all these families who have been our clients for years and years need food at home. And they already know our quality, our commitment to quality, our commitment to service. So that was the other thing that we launched was through a site called foodlovela.com, which is kind of love of food and then kind of getting food to people's homes.
Yes, no, very good, very good. And I can't wait to explore that conversation more on how you did reinvent yourself. So Rachel, if you want to share the impact on your business, maybe both in revenue and staff.
Yeah, so on a revenue side, we've probably had about a 30% reduction in revenue. We've got about about 200 locations that went completely from, staff to, and service to none. So we've got about 650 employees on furlough right now. We had about another 130 locations that cut their hours in half.
Oh.
So we've definitely had some impact for sure.
Yeah.
And then we have other locations where it's been interesting because we do perform work for some essential retailers, which has been really good for us right now, clearly. And we've been able to increase some of those services there. But it's definitely, we're still, like this.
Yes, I understand. So let me ask you this, and just to paint a broader picture, did the COVID impact and the challenges, post March 4th or whatever the mark is? I also want to share that Rachel's calling from Dallas, Texas, and Alan is here in Los Angeles, California. But did the challenges that were made aware, revenue, employees, things like that, were they pre-COVID conditions in your company? Now if you hindsight looking back, were these things that you could have or should have addressed maybe even before COVID or not because of COVID? Alan, maybe you could share.
So we were actually in the midst of consolidating our locations. We had 2 locations in LA, so we kind of started collapsing them into one facility. We had done remodeling in one of our larger facilities. So we were kind of in that process of shifting into one place. And it kind of just helped us accelerate that process.
I see.
Which was a silver lining for us. So in terms of kind of, being, we were lucky that we had some thoughts as to what we were going to do and how we were going to consolidate our operations. And so with this happening, we had to just accelerate it rapidly. And there are a lot of cost cuttings and cost savings that as you're operational, you perhaps don't see as you grow. And, there are many things that I'm realizing I can be without, or many costs that can be reduced. And without really impacting the operation. Even though our operations have reduced substantially, certain costs are just, were needed, and we were just our eyes open to all these opportunities. So I think that was kind of a surprise and a good surprise in all that's going on.
Right. So how about you, Rachel? Gaps that maybe were exposed or gaps that you were immediately able to plug or made aware of?
So 2 big ones for us. The biggest one I would say is that we had some contracts that were unprofitable. So it really forced us, as our revenue started to go down and we tried to adjust as quickly as we could to reducing expenses and overhead and things like that. We were still looking at some of these contracts and going, oh my gosh, like it just exacerbated the issue. And so we've been also in the midst of negotiating new pricing with some of our clients. And so it's really like forced us to have some of those tough conversations. And it's actually been good for the business. And then I would say the second thing is it exposed some lack of well-documented procedures and cross-training, more so on our administrative staff side. So as we're going, we've got to reduce and get as lean as we possibly can. There were some leaders that went, oh, we have this process that we don't have well documented. So we need to, we need to solve for that. So those were kind of the 2 big things for us.
Okay, so one of my Bibles to come out of a condition like this is I'm going to write a this will never happen to me again plan. And so I wanted to see if, along that line of thinking, Rachel, if you had to include a section in that manual, what would that section be?
Oh my gosh, for us, it would be make sure you price it right, no matter what. So like we've got some work sessions this week about not the business we have, but how are we going to price in the future to make sure that we're protected, that it is a profitable contract. And if, for instance, service levels reduce, then, you know, what does that look like from a pricing? So that's kind of my big takeaway, is make sure that we are pricing at the beginning the right way.
I understand. What about you? Chapter 2 in that manual, Alan, what's the title?
I think for me, HR has been a big area to concentrate on throughout all of this, because you know we can't lose track of, you can't lose sight of your employees and what's happening to them. You know, I wish we were better prepared for things like, you know, remote working, helping our employees work through the EDD and the unemployment paperwork. So, you know, so I think kind of for me, it's going to be, that is going to be one of the things that we're going to have ready to go for the next time, you know, have everything, our processes lined up, ready to go to help our employees. So I think that was kind of an important thing that unfortunately took me a couple of days to kind of get out of the days to focus on. And I, you know, for if it happens again, and it will not happen again this way, is that, you know, we will have our HR in, helping employees much quicker.
Okay, more responsive. I understand. And I love
more responsive.
We're looking, so we have a very employee-centric, you know, plan, and a very customer-centric plan, which I think that's good business, right? That's what good business is about.
Yeah.
So as we continue to the road to recovery, and this will probably be our closing remarks, if you guys look at the things that you both beautifully have designed to kind of stay open in business, and how fortunate you are, and I'm sure grateful you are to have had that opportunity, what would you say for market shifts or structure change, anything that you did that different in that area, or that you would recommend other business owners to look at in that area?
Well, I think for me, the fact that we were so school focused unfortunately hurt us a lot, just by the pure nature of what happened. So it's an opportunity for us to divest and kind of, you know, diversify our revenue sources.
Okay.
You know, and be smart about it. Use the same products, you know, use similar recipes. So I think that's an important thing to kind of, you know, keep in mind. I think that's just launching what we've done with Food Love LA is going to help us grow our revenues by an additional 10 to 15% in the coming year as things come back to normal, because now we've established a new brand, new customer base, and we can continue to service them. So I think that was something that you know, that came out of this whole thing.
That's nice. I love all the positives and the things that you've been actionable about. I think that makes a big difference, rather than sitting and watching it go by. What about you, Rachel? You're kind of spread out nationwide as it is. So is there any expansion or contraction in how you want to do business in the future?
Yeah. So for us, I think the revenue stream, additional revenue streams, is important. So we are we purchased today our first electrostatic sprayer.
Oh, wow.
So that is something that as offices start to reopen and places just continue to try and resume operations, that people are asking for. And we didn't even have one. You know, we've never been asked for this in the past. And so I think just kind of a silver lining for my industry is that I do believe that people will value cleaning and disinfecting services in a different way. So for me, that's a big one of, you know, when I have somebody coming to me and saying, hey, do you offer this? And it's like, and when that first started happening, we couldn't even get our hands on one, you know? So we were excited because today we found one and we got one. And so it's going to be about, you know, researching and learning that piece of the business and being able to offer that service. Because I don't think that that's something that's going to go away anytime soon.
No, and I don't want to make any predictions. I am hopeful for a full recovery, and hence why, you know, wanted to do the show, why I wanted to share the interaction and the the tools and resources that I've been blessed with to everyone else. And then also wanted to share the good company that I keep, because I have that saying that iron sharpen iron. So other business owners like yourselves that are being very proactive in this environment. And I didn't hear either one of you mention any of the subsidies or stimulus that was mentioned. And I love how your vision and plan was using the tools that you already have. You know, not that those things aren't helpful, but just that you're not waiting for them. And I find that very encouraging. I find that very encouraging. Oh.
Yeah, and so far we've applied, but have not gotten any funding. And so I actually told my team earlier today, if we get it, great. But here's the good news. Everything we've done has been based on not getting any additional help. So I do think that's important.
Same here. I applied and I didn't receive any. I have not received any PPP loans yet. And, you know, if it comes, great. It's an additional tool for us and our employees. But the plan is to go and not worry about it. If it comes, then you add it to your war chest at that point. Other than that, you go with what you have.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I love that.
Well said, Alan.
Yeah, very much so. I think as entrepreneurs, that's part of the reason why we're here, right? To create where nothing exists. That whole turn lemons into lemonade. I'm making lemon souffle. I think that's good. So I thank both of you guys for joining us today. And oh yeah, you probably have a pretty good recipe for a souffle, huh? But I thank both of you for joining us today. I appreciate you sharing your road to recovery. And if I could invite both you guys back as the challenge, you know, diminishes or, you know, evolves for more conversation, I would really like that and appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rhonda.
No, thank you for your time.
Thank you.